Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to a Hajj Special edition with Connect with the Quran. And my intention and prayer and hope for this is that we use these special 10 days of Zulhijjah to better connect with the Quran through du'as and through other things. So, Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. And Assalamu alaikum once again. So in day 3 of Zulhijjah, I just went through giving you a bit of a background of how Hajj is, as a month is placed within all the 12 months and the sacredness thereof. And then I wanted to give you also, the beauty of our faith is even in the name, the Hajj, there's sacredness. There is sacredness about going to a journey. Towards something that is sacred. And the beautiful thing is that even for those who are not going, the journeys are also internal. Our growth, our spiritual journey, our spiritual growth of remembering where we are headed, who we are headed to, what our purpose on earth is, and leaving the dunya behind, especially in these dedicated 10 days. So I'm praying and hoping that whatever little I'm able to share will work for me as a source of goodness and for my salvation, and for anybody hearing it and being able to benefit and taking it further and using this as a reminder for them to do something even more good, then all the better, then we all reap reward from it. Today I want to bring in a hadith, and the hadith not I'll bring in the hadith about the Hajj to counter this hadith. We have beautiful hadith about warnings, about good news, all sorts of things, and at every level they are designed to encourage us towards goodness. But there is one hadith that diagnosed the spiritual disease that's in us as Muslims, and it says it's the attachment of the dunya and the aversion to sacrifice. And this month is all this Hajj is all about the sacrifice of Ibrahim alayhi salam, of his son, and Allah accepting it, sending the ram, and then we sacrifice the ram instead. So the hadith that it portrays is it portrays a community that will appear large in number, which is what we are, but lacks the substance and conviction, alike froth on a flood. We also have this in Surah Ra'd that comes up, that it's like the scum on the earth, all the tide and the waves, when you come and there's all this, but it's all muck, there's no substance to it. So here, and to contrast that hadith with what Hajj is, and how that can work as an antidote for this, that this is what we are. So we are in a state, and it's a hadith that goes on wahan. Wahan means weakness. So the hadith goes, which says that the nations will soon summon one another to attack you, as people invite each other to share in their dish. That's how severe, that's how froth-like insignificant we become, of how what's going on in Gaza, in Palestine. They do what they like. When they wanted, they did a ceasefire. When they want, they do what they like. And we, having the material wealth all around Gaza and all around, and we are how we are. So the people will ask, will it be because we are few in number? And so the reply will be, no, you will be numerous, but you will be like the scum carried by a torrent, and Allah will remove the fear of you from the hearts of your enemy. They can do what they like because you are good for, that's the hadith. So it's really a shake-up and, an indictment on me individually and everybody. When you feel nobody listens to you at your work, your word doesn't count, nobody listens. Well, I need to look at it me individually, and my individual action has repercussion on my collectiveness. Like we talk about the heart being the organ, which if one is sick, everything else also doesn't work well. So where is the heart and soul of our ummah? Of where are we individually? And so when somebody asks, will be in few number? He said, no, you'll be numerous. But why? And it will cast wahan in your hearts. So then somebody asks, well, what is, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is wahan? W-A-H-N is how I have it in English. You'll have to look it up what it is in Arabic. And then he says, the love of the dunya and hatred for death. So why is it that we are not en masse going to help people in Gaza, the people around. What are they scared of? What are they losing scared of? Well, I shouldn't be saying they, I should be saying us and me in first place. So it says about the hatred of death. And Hajj, like we talked about 2 days ago, about how Hajj, going on Hajj, you say goodbye to everybody, aunts, uncle, everything, because you don't know if you're going to make it back. So the reality of death needs to stay with us. So this is in Abu Dawood, and it's a diagnosis of the spiritual disease, the attachment of the dunya, the aversion to sacrifice, and it sort of really fits well on us today, just as the other hadith about, the Bedouin and the ones who will grow tall towers and this and that, the 3 signs of Akhirah, of the slave girl giving birth to her master, and all those. I'm not going into that hadith just now, but this is equally relevant of this is the state we are in. And so then I found that really sad. So I said we need to find what is the antidote for this, that we are not in wahan, that we don't love the dunya. So the counter for that is that you must be thinking of the akhirah. So to contrast this with Hajj, a season that epitomizes sacrifice, detachment, remembrance, and submission. So take these 10 days as truly, however much we can invest on these 3 points: sacrifice, detachment, remembrance, submission. This will help us. So despite the weakening of the ummah's political power, spiritual consistency in some circles, the rites of Hajj still stand uncorrupted. Okay, and they draw millions to sincere ibadah, to shed their ego, to reawaken their bond with Allah. So the value of Hajj remains, no matter how collectively, politically we have no say, and we may seem like the scum of the earth or whatever else, the froth on the ocean. This annual divine, these 10 days are doing that reset. So that's why my passion was something of, let's capitalize. We're on day 3. We're on Zulhijjah day 3. Soon it's going to be Arafah, but and it takes us time. We can't, if we haven't been preparing from the time of Zulqa'dah and so on, it does take us time to get into really the intensity of wanting to be in this ibadah. So the contrast is sharp. Wahan reflects scattered hearts, chasing the dunya, and Hajj calls for united hearts, answering the call of Allah. Answering the call that Ibrahim alayhi salam was seeking only to make to Allah. Even in times of spiritual decline, Hajj remains as a proof that revival is always possible. It's always possible. For us to sort of give up on ourselves, that we're good for nothing, only when the Messiah comes, or only when, this happens, the Mahdi comes, then we're going to get up and wake up. No, the value of Hajj remains, and we need to, it's always possible to return to sincerity, ikhlas, into goodness, and sacrifice to return to the hearts. So then, we were doing a class on this, and then the teacher added that it can safely be said that no journey in which an individual remembers Allah more than in Hajj, Arafah, Mina, Muzdalfa, Tawaf, Quran, Dua, and even just merrily looking at the Kaaba earns reward. So in Hajj we do this most, and let's do it now, these 10 days. The 10 days of the end of Ramadan are special. The 10 nights were very special, but these 10 days are the best days of the world, of our year. So ironically, when Allah talks about Hajj, He says from Surah Baqarah and revealing but that it's also zikrullah. So now I'm just going to go through a bit of, how can we save ourselves from the shar of wahan? It is that whatever good you do, Allah knows it. Have that confidence. But take provision, and indeed the best provision is taqwa. So you go. So, and that, the beauty of what Allah tells us to take as provision, He's not telling us to take some, to take this, to take that, because you're going on Hajj. He's telling us to take taqwa. So me sitting at home can also be engaged in wanting to be in taqwa. Then it says, and the reflection is that while it can be reflecting it for the travelers, but also for the real journey is spiritual fuel, which is taqwa. And so remember me, those who have understanding, and then that it isn't about intellect alone. It's about being in taqwa. And aql is shown through if there is taqwa. Then it is also that Islam is balanced. You are not blamed for seeking livelihood, but Allah should remain your focus. And remember Him that He has guided you, and so gratitude for guidance we really need to be, should overflow in the remembrance. We didn't guide ourselves, He guided us that we became Muslim. Then depart from it. So unity and humility is key for the Hujjaj when they are there and what they do. But don't create your own rituals. That's the beauty of ritual. It unites us. It's not, it's in my heart, I'll do it as I like, when I like. No, Salah has set times. You follow them at that time. No, but I'm actually moved at that time. So that doesn't work. And so you're not superior to them. We're all in it together. And then with these, and there are more points on these, of how we need to link it to gratitude, to being in. Look at the urgency of this time. We've got day 1's gone, day 2's gone, day 3 now. So try and up our focus with Allah. So with that, I'd like to end off with the prayer that I hope whatever has been said and heard is being beneficial and work in our favor. So Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.